Hello, and welcome back to another episode of Critical Reactions with your host, Bryan. We're going to continue on with Comfy Music Week. We're going to be looking at something a little different, I think. This group is the Cocteau Twins. The song is called Heaven or Las Vegas. And I say it's interesting because, for whatever reason, I have this band associated with electronic music. And we actually don't listen to a lot of electronic on the band, so I'm interested to dig into this and see what happens. Let's go. It's very dreamlike. Very short verse. I was going to talk about some of the sparseness in it and really allowing the instruments to have room to breathe and putting some rest in there. And we're right back into the chorus. It is very interesting how almost all the instruments are in the same range. Very interesting. It actually works really well, bringing the distorted guitar. Bringing the distorted guitar into the techno sounds. In fact, I am curious now if all of this is done with a guitar with effect pedals on it. Because now that I'm listening, I think what I thought was a synth at the time is just the guitar. Interesting. Before we move into this analysis segment, I'm going to preface that I don't have a very strong anything to talk about here. I'm going to do my best to dig into this and talk about some things that I heard. But usually by the end of a song, I have some sort of idea that I'm able to tie everything into. Maybe it's a production thing, maybe it's a theme that I picked up between, the visuals or the lyrics and the music. And here, I'm pretty much starting at an empty point. It's a song. Uh, it's a chill pop song. It has a very standard song structure. It is not really, it's inoffensive, I guess is the best way to put it. There's nothing really strong about the song that I enjoyed or that I didn't enjoy, anything that really stood out to me, whether it was in a not negative or positive fashion. It is just what I would say is a well produced pop song. And those are typically, at least for me, the most difficult to talk about, the most difficult to break apart, because they tend to be the safest played, which tends to leave very little in the way of interesting topics. Um, from that foundation, though, we're going to try to dig into this. The first thing that I really want to talk about is the production, which makes sense given that it is techno and pop adjacent. The production is going to be key, as is with most of this stuff. However, usually I'd be talking about some of the interesting things I'm hearing in, timbre choices and voices and the mix. And interestingly, I mean, it's still going to be adjacent to that, but I don't think I've ever really said, hey, the production was interesting. Did you guys hear that guitar? And it kind of blew me away because for the most part, like the first half of the song, I'm listening. I'm like, okay, I see the guitar, but things just, they're not clicking for whatever reason. And I'm mostly hearing synthesizers or keyboards using, virtual instruments or samples or sounds that they've created that the producers made. And it wasn't really until the guitar solo in the middle, which is sort of an anomaly all on its own, being that it's a pop song, there usually isn't much emphasis on an instrument at all, much less giving it an entire section to itself, much less it being a guitar solo. So that really got me out of some of the boxes that I was thinking in, and swapped, a lot of my notions about the song. And I started to reevaluate some of the stuff I was listening to, and are is this entire song a rock band? I heard bass, very, very quiet bass. I'm a little upset that I really had to listen to it, and I'm at this point not even sure what I heard was a bass. It was lower end, but not super lower end, and doesn't have that wide, meaty bass tone to it. Uh, if it was a bass, it was mixed weird. I'm going to say that. Then we also have drums. And I think I'm going to rewind this real quick and kind of scrub through it. I was trying to see if there was a moment where they showed a drummer, and maybe there wasn't. For some reason, I'm kind of getting flashes of a drummer, but I don't know. Maybe I misremember. Maybe that's what the twins are. The Cocteau Twins are the singer and the guitarist. Because they don't show the bassist either. Alright, so in my completely uneducated, probably wrong analysis or understanding of the song, we have digital drums, digital bass, maybe not a digital bass, maybe a regular bass. Actually, the drums could be this way too. Maybe the guitarist plays all the instruments, but for the music video, it only showed them on guitar. That's a possibility. But my guess is digital drums, digital bass, real guitar run through a bunch of effects to sound like a techno style synthesizer. Even so much so that what is it, a saw wave? Sine wave? Nope, that's math. Okay, I don't know anything about techno, so I'm gonna just cut myself off there. I thought I was gonna be able to uh, talk my way into understanding electronic instruments because I have dabbled, but I have not really dabbled in the vocabulary of it. Um, but it's the spiky wave. I don't know what it's called. I'm pretty sure we have the square wave. I'm pretty sure it's called the square. I think this one's called the saw wave, but maybe it's not. Anyways, that kind of tone is what I was getting out of the guitar, but muted just a little bit so it's not as sharp, but still has a bit of that, that heavy distortion crunchiness to it, but not like a rock distortion, like that gritty techno tone. And it's really interesting that they replicated the sound, or maybe they didn't replicate it. Maybe they used the patchboard or whatever it's called when you're making electronic tones and sounds and timbres. But the input into it wasn't a keyboard, so to speak. It was the guitar. I don't know. I'm kind of curious how they went about doing this. And what year was this? No idea. The video is released on 2013, but that's been, oh nope, this was at least 2004. I don't know, man. There's I have a lot of questions here. Not only is this outside of my realm, but it's also pushing against some of the notions I have for this style of music. Um, so we actually have like a rock setup. The drums and bass are possibly electronic. The guitar is emulating an electronic instrument, and then we have the vocals. And it's all coming together into this weird amalgam, I would say, between very soft rock, maybe even verging into pop rock, and then electro pop. Maybe 2000s pop, I would say, when some of this electronic stuff was heavily prevalent in pop music. Maybe even some 90s era pop music was like this. I'm actually trying to remember back. What would be 90s era pop? Is that Britney Spears and NSYNC? Did they have heavy electronic I don't know. I'm getting off topic here. And obviously my memory is not the greatest. Because I can't even remember. Like, I can remember the lyrics to these words, the hooks. I mean, they're catchy. They're still with me, 2 decades later. But the music, yeah, I can't. Nothing memorable enough to stick with me over 20 years for some 90s pop or even some 2000s pop. Because I think like NSYNC was early 2000s, or at least Bye 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 was early 2000s. And like I could tell you the lyrics to the chorus, I can't hum you a single musical line though. Very interesting. Uh, I guess that's the point though. That's the point of writing a nice hook is so it gets stuck in your memory, but you're not writing hooks for music, which is such a shame. I don't want to get on tirade about how music is. We're not going to get there. Let's get back to Heaven or Las Vegas. The other thing I want to touch on that I thought was interesting, and I pointed it out, is the mix. And not necessarily the mix on the production level, but the mix of ranges, the actual composition here. The bass I mentioned is extremely mixed down. It is quiet, it is barely audible, and the drums also do not have a very strong presence either, not to mention that there aren't very many large drum sounds to begin with. A lot of it was snare and hi-hat and bass kick. And the snare and the bass kick actually have some width to them, but I feel like they were also, shrunk down, compressed a bit for the sake of elevating the guitar and the vocals, which were both in the exact same range, which really made the song feel top heavy and destroyed a lot of balance in the song. but it works. I, I was not kidding when I said this song confused me. Um, it really shouldn't. There needs to be more presence in the lower end to balance out the song. Normally, typically, that would be what I would suggest to a song like this. But the thing is that the end result here feels very dreamlike. It feels very ethereal, very weightless, and I don't think we would have had that if we had emphasized more of the lower end stuff like the bass kick or the bass guitar, because that would have rooted and grounded some of the song, and it would have lost that floaty element. And I don't know if it would have been better. It would not have been as unique. Um, but see, this is a weird thing. I'm trying to figure out the line between, well, there is no line between, I was going to say the line between good production and my biases towards production, but there also is no such thing as good production. Even that has lines between eras. Um, I don't think something like this would work so well today. Not to mention that the production itself is a bit cluttered and not extremely clean, and we do a lot of clean production in pop today, but that, I'm also not sure where the intent is. Was that something that happened because of the technology at the time? Was it an intentional idea to sort of mash everything into this one little area of music so it kind of melds together? It adds to that dreamlike feel, but I think it takes away a bit from the song production, the song composition. Not the production, the composition of the song. But maybe that's just me enjoying modern production guidelines for pop music to be extra clean and sharp. Um, so it's just, this song is kind of an anomaly to me. It exists in this weird pocket where I can't get an angle on it. Every time I think I've got something, I try to understand it from another perspective, and it completely changes the way I see it. It is some sort of fourth dimensional music where every different angle I look at it, I see a completely different form. It is a very strange song, and I think what's even more baffling in a sense is that to me this is some sort of musical enigma, but to at least the person who suggested it and the people who voted on it, this is a song that is comforting. It is a comfortable song to listen to. It's something comfy to just kick back in a beanbag and pop on your headphones and just close your eyes and listen to. And it's just one of those reminders about how different personal musical tastes and biases are, because this is not comforting to me at all. This is a very strange object to listen to. It's a very strange thing to look at. Um, it is just this wild display of contradictory ideas that somehow come together to form something cohesive and unique, but that I cannot enjoy due to those unique qualities. And I'm not sure again if that's my personal biases or if it's because this is a uniquely odd song. Sorry. I'm just I'm walking away from this one quite baffled. And I really thought I'd have nothing to say here, and I've talked about it for 15 minutes now. Um, I'm probably going to listen to it again as soon as I turn this camera off, and I don't think I'm gonna walk away with any more answers, but I need to make sure that how I'm remembering it is what actually happened, because it is, like I said, every time that I take a slight shift in angle on it, I see a completely different work of art. And that right there in itself, I think, is worthy of appreciation. But I'm still, I don't know what to think about this one. And that is a very unique position for me to be in. Usually I'm pretty, decisive. I may not be correct in my analysis, but I have an idea, at least of my experience with it. And I don't even know where to begin with this one. It is such an anomaly. This is where you guys come in, though. Hit me up in the comments. Let me know if you enjoyed this one, if you're in the same boat as me, or if maybe this is a very cut and dry song for you. Maybe you grew up with this song and it made more sense back then. Maybe it still makes sense now, and maybe I'm just a weird guy who just doesn't get it for some weird reason. Who knows? Hit me up with some comments, though. Let me know what's going on with Cocteau Twins, Heaven or Las Vegas. Above the description, nope, above the comment section is a description box. In there is a link for Linktree. It'll take you to a menu with everything related to the channel. You can email me, hit me up on Twitter, join the Discord community, support me through Patreon, all sorts of things. There's like 11 links in there. I'm sure there's something you can find that would interest you. Above the description box, if you could, like, subscribe, and ring the bell. We got one more video coming up in about 8 minutes now, 9 minutes. We'll be doing a special selection for today. Otherwise, I'll be back tomorrow, same time as usual, 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, 9 p.m. UTC. Alright, until next time, remember to be critical but not cynical of the music you listen to, and have a fantastic morning, afternoon, or evening, whenever you choose to watch my videos.